But a reminder that we have that hashtag PVT Survival Kit contest, okay? So if you ran out of toilet paper, if you ran out of
paper towels, baby wipes, Clorox wipes, hand sanitizer, hand soap, mask.
Wait a second. We have a mask, right?
Yeah, I just said that.
We had one mask left.
We had one mask left.
A hashtag PVT mask.
Yep, it's pretty awesome. I don't even have one. I don't even think I got one.
And right now, here in Hidalgo County, you have to wear a mask inside a store, inside the restaurant, your business, everywhere. You got to wear a mask. So, man, somebody's going to win this one.
Yes.
And so all it takes is $5 donation to our Cash App, okay? $sign Rock and Roll James and Venmo at Rock and Roll James. The contest is going to move and go through Sunday night, midnight, and then on Monday we'll pick a winner, and then on Tuesday we'll present the winner on our next Tuesday Night Live, which, by the way, next week we have Mario Superstar Salazar. You know Mario?
Oh, my gosh.
Not personally, but I watch all of his stuff. He's funny.
Yeah, he's funny as hell.
I'll definitely be tuning in for that one.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Rene Gonzalez Jr., and he is Country Roland's grandson. The second?
Rene Gonzalez the second.
Well, they do that like first, second, and third, like when you're royalty and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lord Rene.
Rene.
You have been knighted. So, how old are you, man?
I'm 42 years old.
42 years old, dude?
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd be 42, man.
How old did you think I would be?
In your early 30s.
Wow. Well, you know, I get that a lot. Up until recently, people would think that my average was like 27, 28 years old, up until about 3 or 4 years ago.
So your mom is the bass player, right?
Yes, sir. Judy Garcia.
And how? So if you're 42, what year was he born?
70? 78.
78?
She's 62.
Yeah. 78 is a great year for music. There's some great stuff in 78, man. So your mom was playing bass and your dad, they met or something? Or how did they meet or what?
Yeah, actually, they met. My dad, I think, is about 10 years older than my mom. So
Okay.
I think they met through a friend or the dance. I think that's about how all of them met.
Yeah.
Their husbands were through the band.
Was she playing with your dad back then in 78?
Oh, man. With my granddad, she had been playing since she was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. My granddad had been having problems keeping musicians. And I think one night, like right when they were getting ready to take off to the Jungle Inn or something like that, his bass player called and said, Country, I got to quit. My wife said that if I keep playing with you, she's going to leave me. She's going to take everything and leave me with our 8 kids. So I quit. So my granddad, I think, played that night without a bass player. And my grandmother said, you know what? Judy's going to learn how to play the bass, and we're going to put her in the band.
Well, I mean, your dad, I would think, would be, man, he could just get up there with a guitar and just kill it, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and he did do that.
The Jungle Inn, ladies and gentlemen, is a bar in between Mercedes and Westlaco that still exists today.
Yeah, every time you pass by, you see it.
Jungle Inn. And my dad used to go there, and I went there. I mean, we were used to drink, man, party, man. Big
I've always wondered what it looks like inside because I never had the opportunity.
It's nothing major, dude. It's just a bar with a couple of pool tables and a little area and stuff, but it's been in existence for a long time. So then your mom was 12 when she started playing with your dad. With your grandpa.
She was 12 going on 13. She was still 12 when they started teaching. My granddad and my grandmother went out and bought her a bass guitar and a bass amp. And my granddad came home with a 45 of Conway Twitty.
Yeah.
And he gave her the 45 and said, learn how to play the bass like on the way they play it on this album.
Yeah.
And don't come out of your room until you know how to play it.
Yeah.
So 2 months later, she came out.
Wow. And she never stopped playing.
No, she's been playing since she was about 13 years old. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hey, and like your grandpa, what year was he born? He was born in the 40s or
32.
32?
July 27, 1932.
1932. And he's from La Chona, or where's he from?
He's from the Falfurrias area.
The Falfurrias area?
Yes, sir.
So he, do you know a lot of his history, like growing up and because I've always wondered about Country Roland. I never really got to sit down with him like I do with a lot of artists, right, and then, ask them about their history and be inquisitive about it. But I've always wondered what was his upbringing like, because back in the 30s and 40s, it wasn't easy, especially being in the rancho and all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a totally different hardship, man.
I do know that he grew up there for a short while, and then they ended up going to Flint, Michigan. for a while, and they picked sugar beets.
Okay.
And when he was about 12, 13 years old, he started driving the truck from the field or wherever to the
Bodega?
The bodega.
Uh-huh.
And when he was around 15, 16, he came down and went to a store in McAllen, and that's where he met my grandmother.
And that was around 1948,
Yeah.
1949.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. I mean, sometimes I romanticize, I guess you could call it, being able to live in those days, when it was just real simple and you just worked hard and, you went out.
It really was a romantic time to live in, if you want to put it that way. Like, it was such a simpler time in life, from the stories that my granddad and my grandmother
and the
shared with
family
us.
unit, it was like structured. Like, I mean, I remember growing up in the 70s and the families were 8, 9, 10, 11, and they all hung out, and then they had kids, and all the kids would hang out, and it was just
just quality time.
Right.
Quality.
well, there was no
time.
video games. There was nothing like that. No social media, and it was just, you know what? We're gonna go to your tío's house, and we're gonna barbecue because it's your primo's birthday, and everybody would show up, man. I mean, all the families, whether they were in any type of argument or not. I mean, they all hung out, and then all the kids would go outside, freeze tag, hide and seek.
Red light, green light.
Red light, green light.
Red Rover, Red
Red,
Rover.
yes, I remember Red Rover, Red Rover.
And
Oh my goodness.
so then your grandpa went to Flint, Michigan. How long was he over there?
I really don't know how long he was over there. I know it had to have been when he was, I think the year's about 7, 8 years old when he did go over there. Because he did tell a story one time about how the first time he was ever on stage was his father, after working or something, said, "Hey, we got to stop here because I need a drink." And my granddad says they walked in. He says, saw a sign on the door that said "Whites Only," and he asked, "What does that sign say?" So his dad told him it says "Whites Only." So just shh. So they went in and they had their drink.
And your grandpa was Weddle, right?
Weddle, he passed as a white boy, And while he was there, that was the first time he was ever on stage. The band that was playing there was being harassed by a drunkard that kept asking for a song that they didn't know. So the guy threatened to kick the guy's ass, the lead singer's ass. So he was scared. He's like, "Hey, does anybody know this song?" And my great-grandfather stood up and said, "My son does." So my granddad got up and goes, "Get up there and sing that song." And my granddad said that the applause that he got afterwards was all he needed to know that that's what he wanted to do.
Wow.
So, and how old was your grandpa when he did that?
I think he was 8 years old is what he told
8
me.
years old?
Yeah.
And so he already knew how to play guitar, or did he just went up and sang?
He just went up and sang.
He just went up and sang it a cappella?
Because the band followed him to some extent because they didn't know the song.
Yeah.
But he sang it. And
do you know what song that was?
I don't remember who the singer was, but it's an old country western song called "Have You Ever Been Lonely?" So, and I know I'm going to get scolded because I don't remember.
Well, maybe we can find it on here, man. It's
Yeah,
got to be on YouTube. Have you ever been lonely?
Have you ever been lonely? Have you ever been blue?
Have you ever loved someone
Just as I love you.
That's Jim Reeves and Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
Jim Reeves had an amazing voice, man.
Just as I
And so did Patsy Cline. A lot of you probably don't know that Patsy Cline recorded a song from Willie Nelson.
crazy? I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
And this was a huge hit, dude.
Yes, sir.
Crazy
It made-
for feeling.
It got Willie so in debt with the IRS.
That's one way to put it for sure.
Oh man! So then your grandpa was playing 8 years old, saying, and that's when he got the bug.
That's when he got the bug. He said they used to listen. Typical, story I know has been told by many singers, from their histories. But my granddad said that after work they'd go home and they had a big old radio that they would catch. They would catch the Grand Ole Opry, real staticky, but then they would catch some Mexican Spanish playing station. So that's when he loved both of them, and that's where he got the idea to fuse them together. Yeah,
Wow.
Dude, I mean, to come up with that idea of putting country music with rancheras, dude.
yeah.
It was like when I first heard that style and that type of music, I was like, it was genius.
Right.
It was freaking genius.
I mean, he didn't follow any formula. He did everything his way. Like, he didn't, not that he deliberately didn't follow rules, but he made them up as he went along. He just did what he did, and it came out to be what it was,
En una manada andaba un potro que me gustaba. Me fui a ver al hacendado, señor, traigo una tratada. Quiero que me dé un caballo por mi yegua colorada. Le pregunta el hacendado, ¿qué caballo quieres tú? El potro lobo gateado, ayer lo vi en el corral, que charros y caporales no lo han podido